Good morning, everybody. What is up? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Welcome to the PreStream podcast, episode 2 for November 30th, 2021. Today is a day of endings and beginnings. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, we end the month of November, which was a great month. It was a month that was going to be uncertain because we didn't know what was really going to happen at the beginning of this month. We didn't even know what games were coming out this month. I mean that. Like, this month had some surprises that we didn't expect at the beginning of the month. Originally, this month looked like it was going to be one of the deadest game months of the year, and it ended up being one of the busiest game months of the year in a good way, I feel. And what an interesting month it was here on my streams. We had a lot of new things, renewal of this channel, new ideas implemented, and we're going to talk about all that today. In particular, one thing I'd like to talk about on today's podcast is how November did, on this channel, how this channel did in November. I said it completely backwards, because this month, remember, I was doing 3 major playthroughs in the month of November that were all licensed music enabled. Usually when I play video games, I have to turn off the licensed music because those videos can get claimed and or even muted or blocked on YouTube for having said licensed music in them. And being that, this is both my hobby as well as my job, I gotta make a living doing it. If videos are getting blocked, if videos are having all of the ads stolen from them from a third-party music company who has the licensing rights to a song that plays in that video, obviously that, I take a big hit, right? And we didn't know how this month was going to go, but I have answers for you, okay? I'd also like to talk about a bunch of stuff. Take a look down here, because this is, like I said, this is a day of endings and a day of beginnings. Today we've got a new monthly goal for members starting up, and we're going to talk about that so you know exactly what it is. I know we're a day early, but yesterday we actually hit all of the awesome member goals for the month of November, locking in at all the rewards that we're going to be doing during the Christmas event, which I'm going to talk about today. And because of that, we can move on to the next, okay? So we got a lot to talk. We got so much to talk about. We really do. There's a ton to talk about on today's pre-stream. So buckle in for a nice, delicious, hearty helping of the pre-stream podcast. Now, of course, there will be lots of gameplay today. Today's a new game premiere with Metroid Dread, a game that you guys have asked me to play since October when it was first released. And I said I will play it when I get to it. We have to finish up a lot of other stuff, which we have over the course of November. And now is finally the time. Finally. All right? And hopefully, let's be honest here, hopefully people will actually show up for a Metroidvania game. Because typically they don't. Just being honest, typically people don't. When I play a Metroidvania game, it doesn't go so well. So that's today's big premiere. We're going to have another premiere later in the week when I actually start up with a Vice City playthrough after we finish San Andreas, okay? So there's good stuff coming up, but let's not get to the schedule yet. Let's talk about what's going on right now on the channel. Let's talk about how the channel did in November, okay? That's what I want to talk about first before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Fair enough? Okay. So, yesterday, the 29th of November, Cyber Monday, was a great day for DSPGaming. All right? We had just been coming off the popularity and hype of hitting 195,000 subscribers on this channel, a milestone. I had never gotten above like 180, 185,000 subs. I always fluctuated around that level. And then ever since I became a full-time streamer here on YouTube back in May, it's a slow build. But we had hit 195 subscribers over the weekend. And then yesterday, we had a big push to hit the members goal of 325 members here on the channel. And by the way, unlike over on Twitch, where there's gifted subs, there's no gifted memberships on YouTube as of yet. That's apparently something they're working on for next year. And so, it was tough to hit this. Why? Because no one was just tossing out gifts left and right saying Merry Christmas. It was people actually becoming members for themselves. Some people will say, oh, artificial growth versus organic, real growth, right? I mean, you could argue that, personally, over on Twitch, when someone gifted subscriptions, it was still leading to the growth of the channel, and here's why. A lot of people who typically wouldn't subscribe to the channel getting a gifted getting a gifted sub would see what the sub is like. And a lot of people would have their eyes open and be like, wow, there's a lot of good benefits to being a subscriber of this channel. I like this, and now I'm going to continue this subscription myself. Now, that didn't happen all the time, but even if it was a small percentage of those who were gifted subs that happened, it was still growth of the channel. You see, it was almost like a free trial of what a subscription was like over on Twitch. And I do believe 100% that once gifted memberships are implemented here on YouTube, which they say is going to happen in 2022 at some point, we will see a similar deal. People will be generous. They will say, oh, you're my buddy, man. I want to give you a gift here. Have a gifted membership for the month. And people might be like, oh, I like that membership. Now that I've had it, I want to keep it. I want to stay in that group of people who get the cool chat crown and have emotes and everything. And then they continue on with that membership. And it just leads to growth, okay? So that being said, thank you to everyone who did become a channel member in November. We hit all the goals. And because of that, last night, I set up the ability for you guys to nominate games for the upcoming Christmas Marathon event. Now that everything's in place, we can talk about it, because now we actually know what's going on. So here's the deal. Christmas is on a Saturday this year. It's Saturday the 25th of December. No, I'm not streaming that day. I'm taking the whole day off to spend with my family to celebrate Christmas and the holiday. I'm sure you guys are going to want to be celebrating too. Why the hell you want to be on my stream that day, right? You got to get a day away from me. I'm an obnoxious individual. You got to, celebrate the holidays, for God's sakes, away from me. Jeez. Now, I just found out that the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, my wife has to freaking work. She's not too happy about that. What a surprise, right? So because she has to work, that means I'm definitely doing at least one stream that day. And being that we have an episode of Ask the King that has to be produced in the month of December, I'm thinking that's the perfect day to do it. We can do a Christmas Eve holiday edition special of Ask the King, where on Christmas Eve, my main stream is Ask the King. I answer your questions, and we have a nice festive vibe around the stream. I think that would be pretty cool. He's licking my head. What are you doing? Jasper Kitty licking my head. I think that would be cool to do, okay? Now, I don't know. My wife, I think she said she's working. I got to figure out how late she's working that day. I know she's working, but I don't know what time her job closes. I have to find out what time her job closes and what time she's working to that day. But I think I'm just going to do probably the one stream that day, okay? But that means that the day before, December 23rd, which would be a Thursday, is likely going to be the day that I am going to be doing my Christmas Marathon event, all right? It's a result of you guys, supporting this channel, becoming channel members in the month of November, so thank you so much for that. Let's talk about what you can expect during that event. A marathon of games, at least 3. I don't know exactly how many. It really depends on what kind of games get nominated, I feel. So right now, you could start nominating games. How can you do that? Well, if you head to the channel page, hey, no, that's my bottle cap. You're not allowed to attack that. He's trying to attack my bottle cap. I'm putting it on my bottle, my seltzer, so he doesn't get it. So, if you go to the channel page right now of DSPGaming, okay, there's a community tab. And on that community tab, you can nominate games right now. There's a post up that says nominate games for the Christmas event. And it has the rules and everything outlined there. I'm not going to go over them here on the pre-stream today. You can read them for yourself. All right. But check it out and please nominate games. All right. This is the process we're using. You guys are going to nominate games on that thread for about a week to 2 weeks. And then I'm going to summarize up all the games you guys nominated. And the games that were most commonly nominated are going to make it to a poll. And that poll will then run for about a week. You guys will vote, and the games that are the top are going to be making it into the Christmas Marathon event. Okay? Now, if you are one of these 327 channel members down here, special priority event for you, one of the cool perks of being a channel member, you get to nominate a game for the event just because you're a member. How cool is that, right? It's pretty cool. So, there's another post on the community tab that's for members only. So you can see it if you're a member. You can't if you're not. All right? Go nominate games there too. Okay? So the members will be selecting a single game for the marathon. The common viewers who are not members will also be selecting games. At least 3, if not more. Why only 3? Because usually with a marathon, I'll say 4 or 5. Why only 3? I'll tell you why. Because we hit the tier 2 rewards goal for this event by hitting 325 members. And that unlocked some new stuff. That unlocked, number one, Feasting with the King, which is a show that I premiered this year. What a change. Some of the new stuff that I premiered in 2021, right? We sit down and eat a meal together. You guys, over the course of that week, building up to the Christmas Marathon event, you're going to help me to select a cuisine, all right, that I am going to try out. In some cases for the very first time, in other cases, only, you know, maybe the second or third time. A lot of these things I haven't tried yet, okay? Some cuisines I've tried this year, Indian cuisine, where I tried goat curry, and tandoori chicken, chili flavored. Then I tried Sonic fast food restaurants, which admittedly is a lot more common, but I tried things there that I normally wouldn't have. And then I just tried Mediterranean food, including falafel and all kinds of cool stuff that, again, I never had before. Dolma. It was pretty neat. This time around, I'm thinking it's going to be Asian themed. So Filipino food, Thai food, Vietnamese food. Each one of those three have unique things. Filipino food, they have this unique kind of chicken, fried chicken that they make, as well as these broths and soups. Vietnamese food, they have pho, which is a noodle dish, you know, with broth and all kinds of things in it, but also they have these cool banh mi sandwiches and things that I've never tried before. And then, of course, Thai food. Thai food is very, very big variety of stuff. They do fish, they do all kinds of stuff, and usually Thai food is traditionally spicy, okay? So 3 different kinds of Asian food that people will be voting on for me to try during the show. But if I'm going to do that during the marathon, obviously that's going to take up a big chunk of the marathon. Typically it takes about an hour to do this show. So I'm figuring that's going to reduce the amount of time that we have to play games. And in addition to that, okay, there's going to be a live episode of DSP Tries It that's holiday themed. I'm going to be heading out to my local area here and looking at the local shops. We have there's actually an Asian market, but there's also a store that features things from all over the world, different cultures. And I'm going to try to get something to try for DSP Tries It that's not of this culture. All right, something completely weird and different. Last year I tried mince pies, and it was so weird. I never had them before, and I was like, what is it? I didn't even know what it was going to taste like, and it was like ridiculously good. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. So, all that's going to be happening during the marathon event, okay? So if I'm doing a, DSP Tries It, Feasting with the King. Oh, by the way, during that event, I'll be dressed up in festive attire, maybe even changing my attire out a couple times during the event. I'll be drinking likely some festive Christmas ale, some eggnog, and maybe even some hard liquor. So during that, I'll be having some booze plus all that. You see, it's going to be an interesting event. There probably won't be a ridiculous amount of time for playing like 10 games, you see. I figure maybe 3 games. We can narrow it down to 3 good games that you guys want to see during the event. That would be pretty good. All right. But let's see, because it really depends on what kind of games you guys nominate, too. If you nominate a game that I'm going to play for half an hour and then we've seen it all as boring, versus a game that's, you play for 2-3 hours and you haven't really gotten even into the meat of it, we'll see. Okay? So anyway, all those festivities are currently happening right now. You can nominate those games, and coming up soon in the month of December, you'll be able to do things like vote on the cuisine, etc. But that's the schedule. It looks like 23rd of December, Thursday, the Christmas Marathon event. 24th of December, which is Christmas Eve on Friday, I'll be doing a holiday Ask the King, and probably that's the only stream for the day. And then on the 25th, Christmas Day, I'm off from streaming. Okay, just so you guys are kind of getting the holiday schedule now that we can lock it in place, all right? So, that's all well and good, right? But, now, that was November's goal. Let's talk about December. Right here, my friends, for the month of December, we have a new members goal set up, 365 members. That's for the whole month of December, by the way. That's not, that you have to do that within the first 2 weeks. That's by the whole month, okay? That's what we're going for. We're looking for more growth here on DSP Gaming. I feel like we can do it. I'm going to be playing a lot of stuff this month that you guys have wanted me to play, starting with Metroid Dread today. Vice City is the game a lot of people were asking for me to play in the GTA trilogy. Everyone wants to know if the Halo Infinite campaign is good, and we're going to be checking that out. And then once we wrap up some of that stuff, basically I'm going to leave it open to you guys to choose what I play next. So it's basically November was the final like major tons of new releases month. December is going to be, let's wrap up everything from 2021 that I kind of missed out on or you guys have been waiting for and I haven't gotten around to yet. Okay? It's kind of like Viewers Month. Now, in regards to that, what's going on with this new members goal? 365 members, that's, it's a lot. It's like another 40 members. What do we get if we hit that goal? All right, I'll tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, listening directly to your feedback over the course of 2021, there's something that's been lacking from my channel that I kind of forgot about. Not really, though. Like, I always have it in the back of my mind that we could pull this out whenever we want to go for something that's traditionally very popular and people love to do. But I feel like after a while, it kind of gets a little bit played out. But now we haven't done it in like a year or more, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, it is the return of the Retrospective Event. Yes. Yes. What is the Retrospective Event? I'll tell you what it is. I've been a content creator for 13 years. I've produced over 60,000 videos for the internet. 13 years of my life, man. I've done vlogging. I've done game reviews. I've done countdowns. I've done a ridiculous amount of raw gameplay. Okay? I've done special series. I've done all kinds of crap for a very long time. Okay? And every once in a while, it's pretty fun for us to take a trip down memory lane and re-experience that stuff together. When I do a retrospective event, it's a marathon style. What I do is I sit down for the length of a day, and we look at stuff from my past together, and I give you guys some perspective on it. In a lot of cases, it's the first time I've ever watched back this stuff since the day I produced it for the internet, and I like to give my current day commentary over stuff that I've done in the past, okay? And essentially, it's an interesting event because it's the first time that we get to really look back at the old Phil. How did Phil used to make content? What's the difference between my old style and my current style? And by the way, I've evolved so much over the years. You know, I went back from being a guy who didn't give two shits about what I said and did on the internet, didn't care about the repercussions of the crap that I said, using a camera hooked crooked to my television to even get the widescreen fitting into a standard definition frame. You know, just dicking around, running around everywhere I went. I brought a camera with me like an asshole, filming everything possible. And that evolved over the years to being a lot more professional, having a set schedule, putting out streams on a daily basis that you guys enjoy and see as hangout sessions as well as just gameplay sessions. Much better quality visuals now. Are you kidding me? My visual quality is pretty much up to snuff with most people. You know, just doing things way differently, okay? Way differently. And taking it seriously, okay? So, all that being said, it's excellent and fun when we go back and go down memory lane for these retrospective events. It's a lot of eye-opening stuff, too. Some of these retrospective events that we've done have actually spurned great ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, the vests that I wear on stream when we hit a certain amount of fundraising goal every stream was an idea that spurned from an actual retrospective event last year. We were sitting down and watching vlogs from like 10 years ago, and someone saw a vlog with me wearing a beige vest and said, "What is that? Where, you know, do you even wear that? Do you still have that?" And I ran downstairs and I found the beige vest in my closet. And it became a meme, a running thing that if I raised a certain amount of tips on a stream, I would put on the vest. And then it spurned a bunch of new vests that I wear and all kinds of stuff. You know, that whole idea, that whole idea of raising funds and having reward tiers from it came from a retrospective event. So, all that being said, the retrospective events are pretty damn fun. The other thing is that the power is in your hands when we do retrospective events. What do I mean by that? You guys pick your favorite moments from my history, and we you know, summarize those together, and then we watch them together. So it's a really cool event when we do it. I haven't done one in so long. I'm curious how it would go because I used to do them like 2-3 times a year, and people got bored of them. So I gave it a year off. So now we can come back and actually have a really special event, I feel, okay? Now, here's the other thing. We could treat this like any other marathon, okay? Which means during a marathon, we have special goals. If we hit a tier 2 goal, maybe we could do a Feasting with the King, etc., etc. I'm down with that, you know? But let's see how it goes. This is the goal for the month. Now, why am I launching this today? You might say, it's still November. Why are you launching the December members goal in November? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to have people have to hold off for December to become a member and feel like it counts towards something. You know what I'm saying? Like today, for Metroid Dread, we're probably going to have a good amount of viewers on the stream to watch this game. People have told me they were specifically holding out for when I was playing this game to come and watch and support the streams. They told me that. So now you can contribute to the stream today and become a member and not have to worry about, oh, it didn't count for December. It will. It'll count towards that goal. As of today, we're moving forward. Okay? So this is cool. And I hope that you guys are excited to do a retrospective event, because I am. Like, I love doing it. It's always a chill time. It's a fun time. And it's always cool to look at where you've come from and use that as an idea to determine where you're going. You know what I mean? We get so many good ideas from these events, too. Okay? So there you go. Awesome. So that's the deal. That's what's going on the stream right now with this member's goal. If you become a member today, which, by the way, a couple people did, and I will shout you out during this pre-stream. If you become a member today, it counts. It doesn't, my membership didn't count, got tossed into the river. No, it counts. Okay, really cool. All right, now, what I would like to do, all right, is I would like to talk to you about November. This was a great month, and it ended up being a much better month than I think anyone expected. If you remember at the beginning of this month, we didn't know that Halo Infinite multiplayer was going to drop out of nowhere for the 20th anniversary of Xbox. We had no clue. We didn't even know that a Grand Theft Auto trilogy was coming out. We had heard rumors, but we hadn't even gotten like confirmation of a set date or anything for that. This month was looking pretty empty. At the beginning of this month, the hypest releases were Call of Duty Vanguard, which everyone was kind of like, this game's going to suck. We're not too excited for that. And freaking Battlefield. And maybe Pokemon. And that was it. It was looking like a completely dead month. And then this month ended up being one of the most interesting months of gaming all year because of the releases out of nowhere of this Grand Theft Auto trilogy, as well as the Halo Infinite multiplayer, right? Now this month was an interesting month for DSPGaming, and here's why. This month was an experiment. This month, I wanted to see what would happen if I left licensed music in my playthroughs, okay? And there were 3 big playthroughs that I did in the month of November that all had licensed music in them. Guardians of the Galaxy, Forza Horizon 5, and the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, starting with San Andreas Definitive Edition, all right? Now, what I can definitely tell you is thus. Having the music in those playthroughs greatly improved them. Having that awesome soundtrack in Guardians during epic fights and things really made the playthrough feel better. Some of the music fit perfectly and set the mood for what was going on in the game. In Grand Theft Auto, having those soundtracks that are from that time period that the game's supposed to be taking place in really put you into that era. You know what I mean? Like driving around Los Santos and hearing Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, right? Or some of the cool rock music. So, it really puts you into that era. Like, wow, I remember how it was in the 90s, right? It puts you in, and it definitely adds to it. Driving around, you get to hear the music, singing it and everything. I mean, we had good discussions about George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic. We had all kinds of discussions during this playthrough as a result of the music being in it, okay? But, and there is a big but, it's a big old booty, all right? Because I left the music in there, all of the videos from those 3 playthroughs were claimed on YouTube. In some cases, they were blocked, and I had to edit out the music, which is why if you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy and you notice there's a couple videos where it's silent for like a whole minute in the middle of the video for some reason, that's why. Because YouTube is still so archaic in the way it treats music that if there's a stupid-ass company out there that owns the rights to a licensed song and they got a bug up their ass about it, they'll literally say, we want no one having that song in any video on YouTube at all, and if it is, block the video. How stupid is that? So I end up having to mute that portion of the video so that I can actually play the video, okay? So that being said, that was a big thing. Think about it. San Andreas is the biggest playthrough I did in November, hands down. If you want to look at viewership, attendance, it's the biggest playthrough I did in November, okay? Guardians of the Galaxy, not so much. It started off hype, and then after that, the hype really died out. But it was actually one of my favorite games of the year. And, of course, Forza Horizon 5. It's a chill game. It's fun. It's going to be ongoing probably for the month of December. And I don't play it that often, maybe twice a week, a couple hours. Not a big deal. At the same time, those videos, yeah, they're all getting claimed. So that's a big deal, and here's why, okay? In November and December, These are the biggest ad revenue months on YouTube of the year. Now, normally, in a normal month, I get a little bit of extra money from ad revenue on my videos. I don't get a ton. If you're someone who watches these videos on demand exclusively and you don't attend the streams or contribute to my streams, understand that I make a little bit of money from the ads that run on the videos that you're seeing. Not a lot, okay? It's honestly, I'm trying to like think in my head what portion of my income typically is ad revenue. It's very small. I would say maybe 10%. I'm just completely pulling that out of my butt. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's in the big picture of everything that's revenue for me, that for this business, ad revenue is really small. And that's so crazy to think that from the years of 2011 through 2016, so 6 years, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 6 years, my income was 100% ad revenue. Like, seriously, it was just ad revenue paying for everything, okay? And how that changed dramatically during that YouTube adpocalypse. YouTube lost so many advertisers during that time frame that revenue went down into the toilet, and there was no way to make a living as a full-time content creator on YouTube with ad revenue anymore. You had to branch out and get sponsorships, partnerships, crowdfunding from things like Patreon, and then you had to become a streamer to get crowdfunding during your streams and stuff like that. It was so different. It just became a different entity when that happened in 2017. Okay? So that being said, this was an uncertain month for me. I didn't know what was going to happen because November and December are actually the months on YouTube when ad revenue skyrockets. Of course, why? Because it's the holiday season. Every company wants to advertise their products, their movies, their television shows. Everything gets advertised on YouTube heavily during November and December, so ad revenue is up in the sky. And that's a great thing for content creators like me, because typically this time of year, we actually see a distinct increase in the amount of income we make on YouTube because ad revenue is up, okay? But I forewent all that this year. I said, oh, for the betterment of the playthroughs and the streams, I'm going to leave the licensed music in, and I'm going to give up all that additional revenue that I normally would make as a result of having better ads and more ads here on YouTube for November. And we didn't know how it was going to go. I was nervous about it, and I told you guys that. I said, please, if you're watching these playthroughs this month, please do me a solid, and please support it in other ways. If you're watching Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, understand I'm not making $1 on that playthrough on YouTube. Please send a tip, pledge to my Patreon, become a channel member, whatever you want to do. All right? So the month is now over. There's 1 day left today. Okay? What I can do now is tell you exactly what happened on DSPGaming because I've been tracking its performance, and I got the results. First of all, my Patreon didn't go up at all. No one pledged to Patreon, maybe one person, as a result of this. So what that tells me is those who are pledging to my Patreon, they pledge because they want to give ongoing support. They used it. It's like a legacy thing. But essentially, my Patreon's kind of dead now because it really is about live streaming support and YouTube support. And the Patreon thing just doesn't really pan out to be a part of that anymore. If you'd like to pledge to my Patreon, you can. It's a way that you can, every single month, contribute behind the scenes. If you don't care about getting public shout outs and stuff during a live stream, Patreon's a great way to have an ongoing subscription to my content and support it in an ongoing way. But most people who are doing Patreon are people who've been doing it for years, and that's the reason why they keep doing it, because they like that. It's fine, but I was wondering, gee, since people really want to help me out this month because I'm leaving the music in, will they pledge to my Patreon? The answer was no. I really, maybe one person pledged to my Patreon this month, okay? Memberships, they went up. Memberships, we started this month in like the low to mid 200s. By the end of the month, we're at 327. Now, we actually have more today, and I'm going to update that in a minute. So, definitely memberships went up this month, and that's great. That means that that's growth, and like Swaggins actually said this earlier. He says that's organic growth. That's not someone came here and gifted a bunch of subs on Twitch. You can't gift memberships on YouTube. That's legitimate people coming in and saying, okay, we support your content. Here, we'll become a member and supporting the channel. That's a great feeling. That lets me know that there's more and more people every month who want to come by and support this content, and I really appreciate that, okay? So that's a good thing. Memberships overall went up, okay? Tips for this month. You want to know the truth? They're about the same. They're about the same as they are every month. I did not see any distinct increase in the amount of tips that I received this month. In fact, I was a little shocked that certain games that I thought people would actually like more didn't get more support with tips, while other games that I thought wouldn't have actually gone as well, some people actually came out and supported them in big ways. But essentially what happened is it evened out. So my tips are about the same as they always were in November as they are any other month, okay? So now let's talk about ad revenue, because that's the thing that really was going to change this month, okay? Normally, in the month of November, my ad revenue, I'm not kidding, doubles. Usually in November, this is the month of the year, wow, I can actually make a little bit of extra money as a useful surplus, and I can use that to do things that are important near the end of the year and stuff, okay? This year, my ad revenue was exactly the same in November as it is every other month. It didn't go up. It didn't go down. It just stayed like this. Plateaued. Okay? If I had taken the music out of those games and every video of the GTA playthrough was monetized, I would have made bank. I'm just being honest. I would have made a lot of extra money on that. I know it for a fact. And I forewent that to make that playthrough better for you guys. Okay? I hope you appreciate it, because that's a lot of income that I lost. And I feel that that playthrough is a better playthrough because the music's in it. But the fact that I know I didn't really get anything to supplement that lost income, it's not like the tips went up, I didn't get a bunch of patron pledges. That's what I was hoping for, and it didn't happen. Okay? Basically, everything was kind of the same, which I'm happy with. Listen, I'm successful. I'm not upset that things were the same. But I definitely took a hit this month, a sacrifice. This was a month when usually it's like, this is when you build up, you surplus, this is good. You can build up for the future. And I got none of that this year. I forewent it for the sake of the playthrough, okay? So I hope you understand, all right? I do. If you're liking what I'm doing, understand that I'm not making shit up. I'm appealing to you guys. This is a big sacrifice that I made, all right? It is. Like, you may say, well, how much is that? Like I said, think about it this way. If typically YouTube ad revenue is about 1/10 of my income, all right? At this time of the year, it actually becomes like maybe 1/5 to even 1/3 of my income because of the big increase, and I got none of that. I basically said, oh, well, I'll piss that away, all right? That really sucks. But I wanted to do what was best for my viewing audience. I wanted to do what was best for the content that I'm putting out. I easily could have just been all about the money and turned off the music and tried to make an extra buck. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do what the best thing to do was, okay? So all that being said, if you're going to continue to watch the GTA playthroughs, because they're not ending, Vice City continues. It's going to be the month of December will likely be my Vice City playthrough. Please contribute in other ways. I'm serious about it. Like, it really sucks that I lost that. Something that I get every year, and I kind of rely on. Whether you want to tip, become a channel member, pledge to my Patreon, especially if you're watching the videos on demand on YouTube. There's a description in each video that outlines all those ways to contribute, and you can do it any way, and it all helps, man. All right? So please consider it. I really don't want to lose out on December. I'm just being honest. December is like the last hurrah for me for the end of the year. Things dramatically slow down in January. Every year in January, income goes down in a big way. So I'm hoping that December, maybe I can make up a little bit more for what I didn't get in November. All right? So please consider contributing in another way if you're watching these playthroughs, okay? Now, the good news is in December, Guardians of the Galaxy is over, okay? So, Metroid Dread, for example, that we're starting today, that'll be monetized. Cool, right? The Forza Horizon 5 playthrough, like I said, I only played a couple times a week, so it's a few hours of footage a week. It's not a big deal. But it really is going to be the Grand Theft Auto playthrough where this is going to happen, okay? And by the way, Vice City, the game is the 1980s, right? It needs that soundtrack, and I can't wait to play it with that soundtrack. Okay? Okay. All right, so, good stuff, my friends. All right, good stuff. Now, let's continue. All right? Let's continue with everything here. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about stuff that's going on, because there's a lot going on, man. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot happening right now. Today we're starting Metroid Dread. I'm excited for this. A game that you guys have asked me to play since October, and I kept holding off, because number one, I was in the middle of so many other playthroughs at the time, it didn't make sense to start up another game. It would have been really stupid to do that. But in addition to that, I've always been very apprehensive about playing Metroidvania games because every time I try it, it doesn't really work. And this is this for every Metroidvania I've ever tried, it's been the case. 13 years I've been a content creator. All right? Games like actual Castlevanias that I've tried over the years, classics. I remember I played a full one on the Genesis Mini. Hybrids, games like Ori and the Blind Forest or Child of Light, or indie games. I remember, what was it, one of it? Not Dead Cells, because that wasn't, was that Metroidvania? Actually, I think Dead Cells was Metroidvania. Hollow Knight, okay? Games like that, I've tried. Even Super Metroid. Yes, Super Metroid. The game that literally started the mainstream popularity of Metroid on the SNES. I played that on the Switch. None of those playthroughs worked. In fact, if you go back and look, all right, I barely ever finished any of them. Most of them I played once or twice, and on the streams, people would overwhelmingly tell me, Phil, this is boring. Maybe it's fun for you to play, but it's not fun for us to watch. It's repetitive. You're backtracking to the same areas. You have to re-kill the same enemies. It's not fun. Don't play it anymore. So every time I played a Metroidvania game, 90% of the time I quit. And I went on and did other stuff that you guys wanted to see. So I was very skeptical about playing Hollow Knight. Metroid Dread when it came out, because I was like, listen, as much as people are hyped for this being a new Metroid and a new release, I've been here, done that. You know what I'm saying? But you guys broke me down. You really did. Over the last month and a half, you kept saying, no, you got to play Metroid Dread. When is Metroid Dread? Phil, Metroid Dread. All right? The other day, I was taking a shit. All right? I was taking a shit. And I'm like, what is that sound? And all of a sudden, it was shaking. The ground was shaking. I thought there was an earthquake. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Holy shit. And I jumped up. And I looked into the bowl, and out exploded this reverberation of sound that said, Metroid Dread, play it. I was like, oh. Okay. I guess I have to play Metroid Dread. People have been asking for it for so long that I just had to cave. All right? So we're starting with that today. All right? Jasper's full of energy, by the way. He's running all over the place. I hope that you guys like the game. I hope that you'll show up for these streams and support it. All right? There's people who specifically contacted me behind the scenes saying, Phil, even when you finally start playing Metroid Dread, we're here. We're going to support it. We're going to show up. We're going to chill with you. We're going to make sure this playthrough's successful. The good news is the playthrough's not that very long. For a Metroidvania game, it's about between 10 and 15 hours long. So as long as I'm playing it consistently, which I'm planning on doing, we should be able to alternate between this and Vice City and other stuff when other stuff comes out. And, you know, maybe 2 weeks, we'll be able to beat the game. So I'm excited for it. I hope you are too. Let's see how it goes. Let's play it by ear and see how it goes. I'm curious if what people are telling me is true, and they'll show up and support the streams, or if it's going to be the same thing that historically happens with Metroidvania. I play one stream, everyone's hyped. Next stream, there's less people, less support. Next stream, there's less people, less support, and then people tell me stop playing it, do something else. Happens every time. Every freaking time I've played these. You know, I would like nothing for that not to be true, to be the opposite. I would love if people now would support this playthrough, and that means maybe I could go and play other Metroidvania games in the future. I would love that because I think that it's a great game type. You know, what do they call it? A genre. I think it's a great. You know, there's variety in the kind of Metroidvania games that are out there too. There's a ton of different kinds. So, I hope it's successful, and this could start a precedent for us to maybe open the floodgates of Metroidvania games in the future. Not to say I'm going to play a million of them now, but I would like this to be successful, so maybe it's a new thing that we can do and add to my rotation of games. So let's see how it starts. It all starts today. Okay? So that's the first stream today. I'm excited for that. Okay? Tonight, the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, is Lost Judgment. Continuing on, we're in the middle of a large story segment that I was stuck in for like 90 minutes, and it keeps going. So we'll continue with that tonight. We'll see how long it goes. And, you know, Lost Judgment, I've been playing for 2 months. I always said when I started, I said, I know this playthrough is going to be incredibly long. It's probably going to go to December. I was absolutely right. And it's going to continue in December until we finish it. We're currently nearing the end of Chapter 10. The game has 15 chapters. But the last couple of chapters are purely story-based. So really what's going to happen is I'm going to have like one more chapter opportunity to do side content. And then I'm going to be stuck into the story till the end of the game, which is fine. But I certainly hope you'll join me tonight for that if you're in for some chill streaming fun and murder mystery stuff. It continues tonight, all right? Tomorrow I'm off from streaming. It's my day off for the week. But when I come back on Thursday, it's going to be some fun. It's going to be the conclusion of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Definitive Edition. Now, I don't know if we're going to, coast right through it or if we're going to have difficulty. This game definitely seems to be a weird mix where some missions seem way easier and others just seem just as difficult as the original. It's hard to gauge what's going to happen. Last time around when we played it yesterday, we ran into a bunch of game bugs that were really annoying. Weird that we waited this long to run into them, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Thursday. If we finish it, we might go right into Vice City. All right, because I have it. It's ready to go. So we'll see what happens. Thursday night is Forza Horizon 5. So I hope you'll join me for some chill driving fun on Thursday night. Then on Friday, we will go back to Metroid Dread. That'll be the second major stream of Metroid Dread. Friday night is going to be my weekly throwback session of Street Fighter called Friday Night Fights. Always excited for that. I love going back to the oldies every Friday night. It's a good time. Saturday, Vice City, paired with, what are we doing? I think we're doing Halo. Yeah, Halo on Saturday night. And then Sunday will be more Metroid Dread. And that'll likely be paired with Lost Judgment. And what we'll do is just alternate during the week. The major streams will be alternated between the two. Okay? The next major release I'm actually playing is going to be the Halo Infinite campaign, which I believe comes out on Wednesday, December 8th, which is weird that it would be a Wednesday, but I think that's how they've timed it. I don't know if I'm going to be here Wednesday, December 8th. I don't know what my next day off is yet. I got to check with my wife's schedule. Once I know, I'll let you know. But I'm going to be playing it as soon as I can, as soon as I'm here on a day when it's out. And that's going to be a balance between that campaign, Metroid Dread, and Vice City for about, a week or two until we start wrapping up those games. Okay? Now, once we start beating some of that stuff, okay, what's the next playthrough for December? I don't know. It's really up to you guys. We have many different candidates. One of the ones that you guys have asked me to play ever since the Halloween marathon was Condemned Criminal Origins. You really liked when I started up Condemned again during the Halloween event, and I played about 3 hours of it, and I told you guys if you wanted me to, I would go back to it, and some people have been consistently asking for it. So that's something we could go back to if you want. Now, as we get closer and closer to the end of Lost Judgment, I'm going to want to play another RPG. I'm going to want to add an RPG to the mix for an ongoing playthrough. But what should it be? The more I hear about Shin Megami Tensei 5, the less I want to play it. It seems like it's an incredibly lengthy game, a game that's going to be very tedious, a game that's going to just be such a drawn-out and very challenging, difficult experience. It doesn't sound like it's going to be good for my kind of streams. It just doesn't. It sounds like it's something that wouldn't fit into the kind of content that I put out there. People would be so upset because it's going to take me so long to get through the game. So, I'm actually considering other stuff. What? I don't even know yet. There's so many different options, I feel, of RPGs that we could play. I've got so many people suggesting different things. What I'd like you guys to do is think about what RPG style game would you like to see me play possibly in December, and then let's talk about it over the course of the month so that when we get near the end of Lost Judgment, we can go right into something new. Okay? One other thing. As we approach Christmas, I'm thinking of doing some multiplayer stuff in Halo Infinite, because I like Halo Infinite a ton now. What I want to do is I want to play it about twice a week. I feel like if I play Halo Infinite twice a week, I can play it enough that I can stay on top of my game and at least do decently when I play. If I only play like once a week, I'm just going to get owned. But if I play it twice a week, I think like I'll have enough to keep me on how can I say? To not get rusty. That's the best way to phrase it. And I've been doing pretty good. I played it last night. I kicked ass. I had like a 12 kill streak or something crazy like that. And every time I play, I learn something better about it. What I'm considering doing is doing some multiplayer sessions with my members, my channel members, where I'll ask you guys, gee, what are your Xbox Live names? Let me add you to my friends list if you're interested, and then we can maybe get some fire teams together, maybe once a week, a members-only Halo Infinite multiplayer session or something like that. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking about doing sometime in December as well. Okay? Okay. Alright, so, before we get to shout-outs, there's one other major thing I would like to talk about on stream today. Yesterday, we were talking about how the Xbox Series S was the best-selling console of the Black Friday weekend. It dominated the sales, because, guess what? The Series X and the PlayStation 5 just aren't available. People want them, can't buy them. The Series S, however, was readily available. Lots of stores had them all over their shelves. You just walk in and buy one. There was not even a big line or nothing for it. Just come get it if you want. So because of that, it sold like hotcakes over the weekend. All right? But one of the things about the Series S that I was skeptical about last year was, would it really stand up to the power of the Series X, or was it really a way to basically kind of make a quick buck? You know, let's sell this discounted version of the console that's digital only, that has half the hard drive space of the other console, that maybe doesn't run as good or load as fast, who knows, right? And let's just sell it for $300, and what's going to end up happening is people have buyer's remorse. I ran out to buy the new gen console because I wanted it so bad, and now I'm disappointed because it sucks. It's not as good as what everyone else has. But was that the case? Because now, here we are a year later. You still can't get the Series X or the PS5 unless you're one of these people that apparently is so dedicated to getting it that literally you have alarms set. So one of these guys who tracks the fucking internet drops of these consoles wakes you up at 3 in the morning. Oh my God, Target has the drop, guys. Get on your browsers. So you run, you get out of bed, you're half naked because you're like fucking asleep. You're probably like half hungover because you're drinking. You're running to your fucking room with your PC. You're like, oh, I gotta try to get this now. Go to Target. At the car. No, refresh. Oh no, it's just that it's out of stock. That's seriously what you have to do. Your whole life has to fucking revolve around these fucking internet drops for these consoles. It's fucking stupid. Like, come on, man. Like, people have a fucking life. No, I don't want to have my whole life revolving around trying to buy a fucking Xbox or a fucking PlayStation. It's ridiculous. We're a year into the launch of these consoles, and this is what you have to do. You actually have to drop everything to try to fucking buy a console. Stupid shit, okay? Now, if you can get the Series S without having to go through that problem, all right, then maybe it's worth it. And I asked yesterday on stream, I said, does anyone have an actual experience with the Series S that they'd like to share with me to let me know what they've thought about having this console? You know, are you satisfied with it? Do you feel like maybe you did get ripped off? Or do you feel like maybe you got a good deal? You know, what do you think? So, shout out to a fan. I'm not going to give their name because obviously they probably don't want their name getting out there. But someone sent me a very detailed email about their personal experience with the Series S that I'd like to share with all of you, okay? He said, hi, Phil. I saw your podcast and you were talking about the Series S. I want to give my feedback. I've owned one for about 6 months now. I absolutely love it. Now, of course, I have Game Pass, and I've played Psychonauts 2, Forza 4 and 5, Flight Simulator, Halo Infinite, Alice Madness Returns, Madden, NHL, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Star Wars Jedi, Alien Isolation, Maneater, Dead by Daylight, and Burnout. They played all those games and didn't pay $1. All they did was get Game Pass. They played all those fucking games on it. Okay? I've not experienced a single issue in terms of lag or any kind of loss of quality. The load times on this console are superb. I love this console. For the price, it didn't feel like it broke the bank at all. It's only $299 for those who don't know. And I'm getting lots of value out of it. I love your new podcast format. I love what you do. I first started watching your streams way back when during Ghostbusters Remastered stream in 2019. It's funny because you say way back when. To me, that was yesterday. So there you go. All right. So this person had a really positive experience with their Xbox Series S. All right. I'd like more feedback. If anything, what I would like to do is push my viewers towards getting it if it really is good. Because the more I hear about it and the more I do a little bit more research on it, I feel like my opinion is completely flipped from last year. Last year, my opinion was perhaps the Series S is going to be that console that it's an impulse buy because it's only $300, so it's not insanely bank breaking. Not cheap, but still, it's not like, oh, I have to fucking drop, a ridiculous amount of money to buy this thing. And I was worried that because of that, what they were trying to do was sell a discounted console to take advantage of those who wanted to get in on the next gen of gaming, but really wasn't going to future-proof. And what I mean by that is, maybe you'd buy the Series S, it would be good for a year or two, and then after that, most of the games run like shit on it, and you're going to be very disappointed that you bought it. So I had a kind of a mixed feeling about it, but I was actually not feeling very good about it. But here we are a year later, and if you cannot get a Series X or a PS5 unless you have no fucking life, which it seems like that's what it is, like literally, Your life has to revolve around being available for these console drops if you want one. Sorry that 99% of the populace of the planet can't do that. We have lives, we have jobs, responsibilities. Sorry, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner. I'm not going to try to open up my smartphone while I'm sauteing chicken to try to fucking buy a fucking PlayStation 5 because there was a drop, you know? Fuck that. It's not how commerce is supposed to be. It's supposed to be there's a product, you could buy it. Not a competition to buy it. Okay? Okay. So that being said, the Series S is sounding better and better. For me, there's two things about it that might make you skeptical. The first is that it's a 1440p box. It's not ever going to run at 4K. It's just not. It's not made to do that. So if you're someone who wants to game at 4K eventually, or if you're someone who wants to watch movies in 4K or whatever, you're kind of assed out here. This is not what this console's for. You understand? Now, the thing is, I don't know how many people really game at 4K. I'll be honest with you. There was some research done, and it actually found out that half the people out there who own TVs don't even have a 4K TV right now. And most people that have a 4K TV, the only reason they have it is because that's what's sold now. When actually polled about do you use 4K, most people don't even know what that means. You know? Like, what? What are you talking about? I just hook my shit up and I play it. I play my game or I play my movie. Well, what resolution are you playing at? What's resolution? They plug and play, right? You plug it in, you do it. Most people don't even know. Okay? Now, some people do. If you're going for 4K, you don't want a Series S, it doesn't do it. So that's one case, but that might be a very small group, okay? However, I believe the big factor here, okay, and this is my take, you could disagree. The big factor here is the storage space of the console, okay? The Xbox Series S is digital only, meaning it does not have a disk drive, and it only has around 512 gigabytes of space, and after the OS and everything, it's only about like 350 gigs of storage space. Now, for those who don't know, some of the games that I've played on this thing have been 100. The Halo Master Chief Collection was over 100 gigabytes. Okay? A lot of games, modern games, are coming out to be over 100 gigabytes in size. This is a major concern. Are you only going to play 2 games at a time on your console? It's not like it was back in the day where you can actually own the game disc, and if you put the game disc in, you run the game off the disc. No games do that anymore. Every game has a giant required install to play. So if you have a tiny, tiny hard drive in there, how many games can you realistically store on there, right? Now, you could argue, oh, well, you could always just expand the hard drive space. True, but here we are a year into the life cycle of these consoles. It's not cheap. You can buy the expansion card, and the cheapest one I've seen is $100-something, like $120 to double your capacity space. So then you just spent $400 or $500 on the console, which is the price of the Series X, which also does 4K. Do you see my point? So this is actually a big problem, I feel, is that they didn't really think about storage space when they made the Series S. They kind of fucking flubbed it to try to keep the price down. Oh, well, everyone will just be able to buy an expansion. Well, we're not a year in, and you really can't. You can't get a reasonably priced expansion yet. They're too expensive. So we're in a unique situation for sure. I would think if you're between a rock and a hard place, you want to play these next-gen games coming out at the best quality, right? For example, Elden Ring is coming out next year. If you can, you want to play Elden Ring on a next-gen console, right? You want to play it on the Series S or X or on a PlayStation 5. You don't want to be dicking around with last gen where you might have frame rate drops and issues, right? So what's your options? Drop your whole fucking life to be ready for one of these consoles comes out on a website for fucking Walmart or Target or whatever, and then sit there like an asshole, refresh, click, oh, maybe I'll be one of the lucky 10 people who gets a console today, brother. Oh, yeah, here we go. Or do you want to just look for someone who actually has a Series S in stock? Because a lot of places actually do. And by the way, maybe not in the United States, but I've actually seen people take pictures around the world. They're like, yeah, I just walk into my local store. Here they are. There's like 40 of them on the shelf. No one's buying it. Just sitting there. You get the Series S, you know. So maybe that's what we got to do. I don't know. But for me, we're a year into this thing, and I'm pissed. Why? I'm lucky. I'm a content creator. People support me and allow me to do things that a common person usually doesn't necessarily have access to. I would not have my PlayStation 5 right now if during a stream last year, someone didn't come into the stream and say, hey, everyone, the consoles just dropped on Amazon. Here's the code to buy it, and everyone bought it. I think there was like 20 of us who all got a PS5 that way. Okay, I wouldn't have a Series X if a fan of mine during this year said, "Man, you'd really benefit from having a Series X during the summer. I have one sitting around. Here you go." You know what I'm saying? I'm lucky as shit, and I'm so grateful to you guys because you get free content out of me. You support my efforts to keep doing this through these ways, okay? But the common person doesn't get that, and that's not fucking fair. And I'm pissed because I feel like I'm just like you guys. I don't feel like I'm any better than you. I don't deserve special treatment. Everyone should have access to these fucking consoles, and I'm fucking pissed that we're a year into the launch of these and you can't get one yet. If you've been trying for the last year, I'm angry for you. This is bullshit. This should be fucking available right now for everyone to buy. No more excuses as bullshit. Fucking COVID. We're a year in, motherfucker. Figure it out. Supply chain's fucked up. What the fuck took you so long? You're supposed to be the people who run the world, and you can't figure out how to make a fucking microprocessor yet a year later? What the fuck were you doing? You know what it is? This is what always happens, okay? When things are good in the world, everyone just fucking says things will be good forever, and no one plans for calamity. I remember before 9/11, the airline industry was booming, okay? They were making money, ridiculous amounts of money, rivers of money. World travel was at its peak. When you would go on a plane, they'd give you a gourmet fucking meal on a plane. Half the time when you went on a plane, the plane was half empty because they didn't have to cram the planes together, nothing like that, all right? Then 9/11 happens. Oh, well, we never foresaw that anything would go wrong with the airline industry. So, calamity. Oh my God, everyone's going out of business. Now the quality of flights dramatically dips. And since then, it's never even been the same. Air travel sucks shit for 20 fucking years because the industry was a bunch of dunces who never thought something could possibly go wrong in their industry and never planned for it at all. We just assume that everything's going to be the land of milk and honey forever, and we'll be rolling in money and dough and rainbows and unicorns forever, right? Like, you have to be a moron on this planet Earth to think that things will just go good forever and not plan for bad things to happen, okay? But this is how fucking adults operate who are in charge of the planet. So, oh my God, there's a worldwide pandemic. We never would have thought that that would have happened despite the fact that it's been a part of our pop culture for a million years. We've been talking about worldwide viruses. Fucking, I've read books about it. I've seen movies about it. I mean, we joke about the zombie apocalypse. No, COVID is not the zombie apocalypse, but wouldn't that have given you a hint that maybe a virus could fuck up the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are so dumb. We had data on this for the longest time. Let's ignore it. So what happens when COVID hits? The whole world's fucked. Supply chain's fucked. Can't do this. Can't do that. Can't do this. Enough of the fucking excuses. Time to fucking man up and admit you're a fucking bunch of pussy idiots who didn't know what the fuck you were doing when you were in charge. No one did anything responsible. And now here we are in 2021 and everything's still irrevocably fucked because people didn't do their jobs who were in charge. That's the bottom line. If you can't get a game console, it's because some moron who's in charge everything will just be good forever, man. Really. And these are people who get paid millions upon millions of dollars a year to be in charge, and they don't do shit to think about anything like this. Yes, this is a rant. This is a rant. Because it's so ridiculous that we have this weird semblance that the people in charge are so smart. That's why they get paid so much money, right? They get paid the big bucks because they keep us safe and they're in charge. They know what they're doing. They don't know shit. They're just like us. They're just fucking winging it, man. They're flubbing it. They have this, you want to know what it is? They've got charisma. They've got this air of authority. They make it sound like they know what the fuck they're doing, when in reality, they don't know nothing, just like us. And we allow them to basically control us and tell us stuff that, oh, don't worry, we got everything under control. And they don't. You know? You're telling me I can't buy a car for less than an exorbitant price because the microprocessors can't be made? Well, why didn't you plan for the fact that a microprocessor might not be able to be made? Where's the surplus? Where's the backup plan? Oh, what's that? Never heard of that. Oh, okay, you're a fucking moron then. But you're in charge. You made the $1 million this year, right? Anyway. Anyway. That was my little rant for the day. But anyway, I'm upset for you. If you're someone who, like, I want to get a console, or I want to get, something that you just want, you can't get it. Because these fuckers didn't do their job, alright? It's very fucking disconcerting, isn't it? It pisses me off as much. So, what I would hope is that here we are, a year later, Here we are a year later. Hopefully, you could get a Series S. And I'm here to tell you, at least from the data I'm gathering, it's pretty good. It's not like, oh, I'm conceding to get the worst console. Especially if you're not a 4K gamer, you're probably not going to see much of a difference. It seems like the major difference is storage capacity. You may be limited to only playing 2 or 3 games at a time on the console and not being able to swap between because there's no storage on the goddamn thing. Unless you want to spend as much money as it would have cost to buy the Series X to increase your storage capacity. You see? Okay. Alright, guys. Let's do shout-outs, and then let's get started with Metroid Dread. Remember, with the new way that I do things, no delay. After the pre-stream podcast ends, we go right into the gameplay. Okay? So let's do shout-outs. Hello, Jamie. How you doing? Hello, everyone. I mean, we got a lot of viewers on the stream. I'm very pleased about this. Thank you, guys. Okay. So we start off today. Samus Aaron became a channel supporter. Thank you for becoming a member, Samus, yourself. I appreciate that. Only Cold Beer also became a 4-month member. Thank you. He says cheers. Cheers to you. Cute Hamtaro 2 became a channel member. Thank you. And King became a channel member as well. So what I'd like to do is see how we're doing with channel members. Did we go up or down at all? Reminder, I talked about this at the very beginning of the pre-stream. I'll say it again. If you become a channel member now, it counts for the December goal, which is the return of the Retrospective Marathon event. If you become a member today, it counts. It's not like, oh, I got to wait till December for it to count towards December. No, it counts today. Okay? And that being said, we're at 328 members. 328. So that is a record high. And what I would like to do is update that and track that during the day. Hopefully we can maybe even get it higher today. That'd be really sweet. Okay? Thank you, guys. 328 is the most we've ever had. All right. Now. Itchy. It's time to give shout-outs to those who tipped. Let's do it. We started off today with James, who tipped $2, says we'll be playing Capcom Arcade Stadium as Street Fighter 1, 2, Turbo, Hyper Fighting, and Cyberbots. Over 100,000 players on Steam alone. It's on both Xbox and PlayStation. Well, James, on paper that sounds amazing, doesn't it? And I actually was interested in this. Someone mentioned this to me earlier this year. Excuse me. They said, Phil, wouldn't that be a great and viable alternative to the Capcom Classics collection that you play every Friday that's laggy as shit and it's just not a good collection? Sure, except that the Capcom Arcade doesn't have online. It's basically essentially a museum. It's a way to preserve those games for those who want to play them, but there's no online play. So there's no point. What am I going to do? Play against the computer endlessly? I could actually do that currently with the Capcom Classics collection. So the answer is, sadly, there's no reason to get that collection. Sounds great until you find out there's no online play. Then you're like, oh. Okay. Rob on Wheels is here today. What's going on? Rob, I'm sorry. I got attacked by Jasper. He tipped me $5 and he said, Drax Report. He's stepping on me. He's got his paw on my back. Okay. So Rob on Wheels did a $5 tip. He says, Drax Report item. The wheeled one returns in support of yet another female assassin. Except this one is not green. This one wears a full orange suit and obscures her face with a helmet. How very mysterious. Well, thank you very much, Rob. In fact, for the meantime, let's get him up as the top tipper, even though I know there's going to be a tipper that did bigger than that. Let's get that up there as the top tip for now. Thank you, Rob, for the $5 tip, and it's good to see you. And I hope you are here to chill with me with Metroid today. Broseph Hosenbaum. Or Josenbaum. I don't know how to pronounce it. To me, $2.01 says, let's go, Samus. This will be an awesome stream. Happy National Mason Jar Day. Now we're getting pretty obscure. Right? When is National Curly Straw Day? Right? When is National Cherry on Top of a Milkshake Day? And when is National Cloth Band-Aids Day? Those are the ones that I'm most interested in. Just make everything a day. National, the side of my mouth is itchy. Let me rub it for a little bit on stream day. When's that? Okay. Let's see here. XBottle01 tipped me $4.20 and says, we're coming next year. You thought it was bad already. Laughing out loud. Xbot, like Xbots? The Xbots are coming next year, apparently, I guess. I don't know. Thank you for the tip. I don't know what you're really talking about. Urban Carl tipped $1.50, says, hey, Phil, try Brazilian food, dude. You know, I looked into it, and sadly around here there just aren't a lot of Brazilian places. The Brazilian places that are around here aren't really, like, how can I say? Like, you would go there and go with your family and sit down and have a meal because they bring out the food as like a group setting. It's not like a place where you would order to-go items and stuff. You know what I mean? And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but for the intents and purposes of the shows that I put out, how am I going to do a Feasting with the King at a restaurant that specializes in sitting down and having a group meal with your family together and eating this stuff fresh and picking at a group item? You know what I mean? Like, if they don't specialize, in basically having delivery food, then what's the point in doing it? See? Why order something you know is going to be inferior? Okay. Toilet Gremlin. To me, $6.66. Biggest tip so far. And says, sorry about that. I was just really hyped for Metroid. That's right. Even my toilet yells at me to play Metroid Dread. So, thank you, Toilet Gremlin. Oops. Thank you very much, Toilet Gremlin. Appreciate that. Robbie Bobby took me $1.50 and says, hey, Phil, I love your content. Sorry for a low tip. I'm a broke college student. Again, as I said many, many times, you never have to apologize for a level of contribution or wishing you could give more. That's ridiculous. I'm happy for every contribution that comes in. Understand that this is all about crowdfunding, and I do it because I love it, not because I'm trying to make a bank on it or anything like that. So you never have to apologize. Thank you. Carlton Jr. took me $4.20. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you keep putting negative energy into the air regarding Metroidvanias, it'll never improve. You have to manifest positive vibes into this. It's short anyway. You'll likely beat it in 3 streams unless you suck taint. Ugh. Ugh. Did you really have to put it that way? Ugh. Anyway, I don't know about 3 streams. You guys, here's the thing. What you got to understand. I'm an interactive streamer and content creator. 9 times out of 10, it takes me longer to beat a game than someone else because I'm stopping to talk with you guys. You know, I get a contribution that comes in, a conversation starts. All right, we're going to do that, and then we're going to get back to the game, you see? So I guarantee you, even though you say, oh, this game's like 9 hours long, yeah, I'm just playing it hardcore nonstop and concentrating, which I'm not going to be. I guarantee you the game will take me at least 2 weeks to beat. I guarantee it. Okay? Carlton Jr. did another tip, $1.50. He says, about JRPGs, my number one suggestion is Scarlet Nexus. Though that game was exceptional. I thought that game was exceptional and better than Tales of Arise, and now it's free on Game Pass. Arise disappointed me. Whack combat and generic story. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is grueling, and Pokemon dropped the ball this year, in my opinion. By the way, that's another option is Pokemon. I forgot to mention that. You know, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes or whatever they are. I could play those too. Not to say that I'm not going to if I don't right away, but I'm interested in playing them, and we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm doing next. B-Boy Cyclone took me $4.20 and says, Phil, I have both a Series S and an X. My Series S is used on my monitor. It runs games perfectly. I have a 6 terabyte hard drive where I keep all my games. I do have the Seagate 1 terabyte card, and I can swap that between my Series S, X, and S. So here you go. So B-Boy Cyclone also weighing in on the S, saying it's good. However, you understand what B-Boy Cyclone just said. He just spent a ton of money for additional expansion. See? So it sounds to me like as a box, as a gaming box, the Series X is good. As gaming storage, it's terrible. Everyone's dropping extra money to get to store more games on this thing. Okay? Okay. Game Trekker tipped me $10. That's the biggest tip of the day so far. He says, it's time. Metroid Dread is my 2021 Game of the Year. Narrowly over Psychonauts 2. Hades was actually my 2020 Game of the Year. I bet you never guessed. Wow, he says that he's done 100% and hard mode playthroughs of Metroid Dread. So he's here to help me if I need any help with the game. Awesome. That sounds cool, Game Trekker. Not to say that I'm going to want help right away. However, let's be honest here. Yeah, with Metroidvania-style games, by the way, the T dropped. What happened there? With Metroidvania-style games, you could end up getting lost, not knowing where's that item I need to advance to blow open that door or whatever. And if you never get it, you know, you're walking in circles. I might need help like that. I'm not going to want it right away, but if I end up in a situation where I get stuck, I don't know what to do, it's always good to have that little bit of advice, a little bit of help, okay? So thank you very much, Game Tracker, for the biggest tip of the day so far. Chicken Man has tipped me $1.50, says, sending prayers out to Paul Levesque. It's coming out the heart issues he had surgery for in September is now very serious. Concerns from doctors. Back in the 90s, before his DX days, when he was stuck up person from UK, made me fall in love with him. Sad news. I have no idea what that last part meant. I think there's a few missing words. Well, I didn't hear that it was that bad. That is unfortunate. If he is really having tons of heart problems. I didn't know about that. You know, that wasn't new this morning. That wasn't in the trends or anything. I don't know. I've been following the trends. I didn't see nothing about that. I mean, we heard that he did have that heart surgery, but we didn't really hear much else after that. I don't know. All right. I gotta stop reading Twitter. This is fucking... What the fuck? I gotta stop. This is it. This is my limit. Top Euro news. So all you Europeans out there should be very proud today. The top Euro news article. Are you ready for this? Sperm is being used to create an eco-friendly alternative to plastic. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Anyway, fucking disgusting. I gotta read that. Anso Kamaru, Timmy $1.50. He says, I agree with that last tip about Tales of Arise. It starts off fantastic, but then it gets boring and drags on forever. The battle system is great. The story doesn't really get good until you're 40 hours in. Scarlet Nexus is consistently amazing from start to finish. Shin Megami Tensei is game of the year, though. The more I do this, the more that I'm a content creator, the longer I do this, I'm realizing that there's just certain games that just don't fit my format. Seriously. There's just some games that don't fit the format. And I think that, sadly, these insanely long, drawn-out RPGs are one of them. As good as they can be, a game that's expected to be $100. $100. 100 hours. Right? At least. Right? It just doesn't work for me. It seriously just doesn't work. People don't want to wait around that long. I mean, take a look. Even an exceptionally game like Divinity 2. The game is good. And I told you guys, if I was the kind of person who I dedicated a ton of time to just playing one game, and I sat there playing Divinity 2 nonstop for like 2 weeks, I'd probably love the game. But I'm a variety streamer. When I'm playing it 2-3 times a week, a couple hours, and I can't get anywhere, when each fight takes an hour, right? That just doesn't seem like it's something that fits my format. It just doesn't. If you're telling me the game is so hard, right, that you're going to lose a lot, you're going to get frustrated, that's not good content for a stream, especially if it's a JRPG. People don't want to see me grind the same fight 14 times to figure out the way to beat it. You know what I mean? Cute Hamtaro has tipped me $4.20. Thank you, Cute Hamtaro, for the tip. So, guys, we're almost up to $50 in tips. We haven't even started the game yet. That's exceptionally good. I guess I should remind you guys, there's some holiday animations, because I don't think we've even seen one this morning. There's special holiday animations for $5 tips, $10 tips, $20 tips, and $100 tips. Also, super chats. There's holiday animations for $5, $10, $20 super chats. Because I think everyone's doing $4.20. $4.20. I understand you want to see a cool animation, but there's some really cool holiday ones if you want to see those, okay? All right. Last but not least, Marxist Carl did a super chat saying Game Pass is not free. I want to clarify that. We all know that, but it might as well be. It's what? $15 a month or something like that? What else do you pay $15 a month for, right? And how much do you get out of it? This is one of the best values in anything. Of any subscription-based service, I feel Game Pass is probably one of the best values you can possibly get, okay? And Homemade Bird Reviews did a super chat and says, "What's your favorite thing when it comes to birds? How cute they are and their cute noises that they can make." Not every bird does that though. Like for example, there's a Steller's jay that there's a Steller's jay, which is a bird that's native to the Pacific Northwest. I'd never seen this bird before till I moved here. And it's beautiful. It's like mostly blue with some black accents, a big crest on the back of its head, a beautiful beak. And you think, oh, it's going to be so nice. And it opens its mouth. It's like, like, whoa, what the fuck? It doesn't sound very nice, but it's beautiful. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for our pre-stream. It's time for us to go right into the gameplay of Metroid Dread, which is a big change. I didn't used to do stuff like this, but now we do it. So let's end the pre-stream, and let's get started with Metroid Dread. How does that sound good? No! Uzi Gohar tipped $1.50. He says, "Skibbity bop, ska ska ska, young boy, top shot of dark side, darker side, west side field." All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, let's end the pre-stream and let's get started.